Blog Talk Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. It's the voice of the people with Dean Geronimo and Mark Lee. Mark, what's good with you this evening, my brother?
With the people and all of that fun kind of stuff. So, that's just what's been going on. And, of course, we had the Street Festival, Centerfest, which is, every city, just about everywhere in the country has a street festival with all kinds of music and art and nonprofits. And, of course, on political season, the political candidates out there doing that campaigning and things of that nature. So we had this weekend, nice large crowd. Yours truly did some of the MCing, and we just had a good old time and heard some good music, all kinds of music, everything from some jazz to some blues to some music that probably had a little bit of rockish influences and maybe even some that had some R&B influences. It was just one big old street party, and folks definitely looked like they were enjoying themselves. It was a little bit on the toasty side, so the lemonade people were definitely glad because they were making plenty of money. As with some of these, and, of course, there were some beer vendors, so I'm sure that they were making some sweet sales, too, since, anytime it's a little bit cool, then you need a little bit of a cool. Anytime it's a little bit warm, I should say, you need a little bit of a cool beverage. So I can definitely understand what was going on.
He said, depending on where your taste buds lie, it could be the lemonade, or it could be a little beer, or sweet tea, or whatever you had out there to quench that thirst, huh?
That's right. There was various things that could quench that thirst. But, speaking of things getting hot, I know you've been following the news, and I saw that St. Louis was getting hot again. They had protests, and, I've been out in the street sometimes when they've done those protests, and I know that chant very well, whose streets, our streets, and it looks like the police decided to do a bunch of arresting and turn the chant back on the protesters. So I'm not feeling too well about that, because that's what chant that I've even led a couple of times, trying to just let folks know that, part of a just society is making sure that everybody has a right to the streets and a right to speak their mind and everything. So I can understand they're having the freedom of speech to say it, but I don't know that how I was feeling about them kind of like turning that phrase after they made about 80 arrests or something, because that police officer was, I believe, acquitted, and the folks in St. Louis did not like that. So I'm going to have to get Carl back on the show since, as you know, we've had him on before, and he's from the St. Louis area. So we're going to have to get him back on to see what he's got to say, because I'm sure he's still in touch with the people from the St. Louis area. So hopefully we'll hear from him in the near future, and he can tell us what's going on in the community. But that was going on this weekend. And then the other thing is that I thought it was really a trip was I was turning on my TV. It was either yesterday or today, and there was an ad for this thing called Trumpy Bear. And, yes, it is a bear. It's called Trumpy Bear. It's a teddy bear. Uh-huh. It's got a flag in it, and the hairline is orange. So, it sounds like it's a salute to that person that they call president, but it's called Trumpy Bear, and I think they only wanted like $19.95. I'm not rushing to get it. I'm thinking, from what I know about you, that you're not rushing to get it either. But there's
I'm not paying for that. Somebody bought it though. I guarantee you, somebody bought probably about 3 or 4 of them. I bet you they did.
So you figure somebody went out there and bought some Trumpy Bears?
They may have, man. I don't. Wow. I wouldn't even want something as a gift like that. I would give it back.
You would hand it back to the people?
Hey, look, man, that's not my flavor. You know what? You go ahead and you can keep that gift. I understand it's a thought that counts, but obviously you don't think much of me to give me something like that. You know what I mean? Just as my thought, like, but somebody's going to capitalize off of it because somebody's going to buy it. You know,
somebody's going to buy it. Somebody's going to buy that Trumpy Bear. I don't know who's going to buy it, but somebody's going to buy that Trumpy Bear. And, you know, the other thing that was a trip is that, you know, a while back we had all this conversation about whether Hollywood and television land and everything else is being supportive enough of the African-American community. If the Emmys are any sign, I think that we're getting recognized, at least this year, because I saw this on Facebook. Somebody posted it, and then I read an article, and it looks like we were just cleaning up all kinds of awards, you know, writing awards, acting awards, just all kinds of awards at this year's Emmys. So, you know, some of those protests may have done good and had the TV industry take a look at itself and honor some sisters and I believe a brother or two as well that definitely needed to be honored and get some recognition. So I was glad to see that TV land is cooperating.
Well, I mean, we got some talent now, so we've always had talent. We always had talent, so it's not something new. But I think, you know, they probably decided to really take a look and not play as much of a favorite as they had been doing.
Yeah.
And now they realize, hey, look, there's some good acting that's going on past the people that we've been conditioned to pay attention to. You know, so that's a good thing.
Yep, and I was glad to see that. I was glad to see that not just TV was paying attention to apparently the fact that they needed to diversify, but I was also reading in today's papers that apparently Rihanna made a big splash during New York Fashion Week, and that the fashion industry as well has been paying attention to the fact that they needed to honor people, and not just of various colors and things of that nature, but they were also paying attention to the size issues as well, because apparently they were going out there and making a concerted effort to try to have people of various sizes and various things of that nature that were reflecting all of our society, not just part of our society, but all of our society. So I was glad to read that in the paper that apparently Rihanna made a very big splash at the New York Fashion Week, and that's an event that I've had friends that have I think one or two that might have gone to it, and some that have talked about going to it. So it sounds like it's always an interesting and spectacular event. So one of these days, I'm going to try to make it to that as well. You know, it's on my bucket list of places. But what USA Today said was it was Anna's week, and we were just happy to be there, starting with her Fenty Beauty makeup launch party and continuing a few days later with her jaw-dropping BMX-themed Fendi X Puma fashion show that turned New York City's Park Avenue Armory into a motocross rally.
Okay.
So she had all kinds of stuff going on. Said that it hit the sweet spot of well-executed clothing, solid dose of celebrity, and inclusivity that feels like the future of American fashion. So it looks like even the folks in the fashion industry are recognizing that we definitely have a strong part of that, and so that was great to see that they are acknowledging the role that the African American community plays in the fashion industry, both in terms of creating some of these fashions, but also in terms of inspiring these fashions as well. So that was real good to see that they definitely acknowledge that.
And definitely congratulations to Sterling K. Brown for the lead winner of the lead actor of a drama series for This Is Us. That's on NBC. And also Donald Glover, who's also known as Childish Gambino, for lead actor in a comedy series for Atlanta, which comes on FX. So shout out to those brothers as well.
Oh, yeah. They definitely deserved it and definitely deserved getting that kind of acknowledgement. So that was definitely great to see that things like that are going on and that people are definitely being recognized, whether it's in the TV industry or, like I said before, in the fashion industry as well. Because, matter of fact, they said Rihanna wasn't the only one to achieve the winning formula of inclusivity, celebrity, and great clothes during Fashion Week. Said Christian Siriano states a show Saturday that was fun, largely thanks to Leslie Jones' effervescent presence and commentary in the front row, which felt like watching the presentation with your BFF screaming, "Yes, work." So, apparently she was giving a little bit of commentary as well. So that was going on. And they said that Huffman attributes the energy to Seriano's diverse models and guests who encompassed a variety of body sizes, races, and gender. Every person in that audience, man, woman, and this time everybody had someone they could be like, "Yes, girl, I see myself," she said, and that's what we need across the board. So she was definitely letting folks know that she was glad that this was going on, but this is something that needs to be going on an even more widespread kind of recognition. So that was definitely good to see that kind of statement being made. And they said that one of the other people had a wide range of models styled with their natural hair that included everything from afros and dreads on men and women, chop locks, and it says that the man had afros and dreads and the women had chop locks and free-flowing waves. So the collection delivered with a glittering homage to New York with satin slips and leather jackets, perfect additions to any brightest young thing's wardrobe. So it definitely looks like they were making a concerted effort to try to make it as diverse as possible.
Yeah, and also salute to Dave Chappelle, who won the award for Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for his appearance on Saturday Night Live. So I guess he's back.
Yeah, I think he's back. He is definitely
and
back.
Also, yeah, and Donald Glover did win the other one, too, for directing in the comedy series for Atlanta. If you haven't seen it, make sure you check it out on FX. It should be back, I guess, later on this year or at the beginning of next year. Nice little show, man. So, take a look, check it out, support.
Yeah, we definitely got to support all of those folks that are out there doing things and making great roads in the entertainment field as well as whatever other fields that we are making roads in, whether that's entertainment, politics, or whatever. Because I know that actually in a few days we will start our early voting here in the Durham area. So, we've talked about our mayoral candidates, and we've got, I think it's a total of either 6 or 7 running to be mayor with about 3 primary front runners, but the early voting will start in, I believe, about a day or two, and then the actual primary will be October 10th. And then the 2 folks that are in the lead in both that as well as our we do city council wards, so the 2 that are in the lead in the ward races will then go into the general election. So by November, we should know who our new mayor is, since our existing mayor, who's been here forever, at least been here for a very long time, has agreed that he is not running this time, and it's going to be new blood, whoever wins. And we've also got some people that will probably be, maybe some incumbents that will win the city council races, or maybe some new blood in that as well. So we're all just waiting to see. Of course, they've gotten endorsements from their various groups that do the supporting and things of that nature. So we've got these different action kind of committees that make endorsements. So, of course, the Durham Affairs has made some of their endorsements, and the People's Alliance and some of these other political action kind of groups. So we're going to wait and find out whether these folks actually have the kind of pull that folks expect to have, or whether their pull has waned, and what's going to happen in these elections. Because, like I said, there are definitely some front runners here and things of that nature. So it ought to be interesting to see what happens in our political scene. And I'm sure that y'all have some politics going on up there in New Jersey as well.
Yeah, it's almost time to vote for a new governor up here. So, those primaries and everything will be going on. Individuals will be going to the poll and casting their vote. And then in November, we will decide who will succeed Governor Chris Christie in Trenton. So hopefully the individual that, is there, and it'll be interesting to see, because people are interested in a few things. You know how they try to pile everything together. So when it comes down to property taxes, pension reform, healthcare. Those are like the three biggest things on a lot of people's mind because a lot of state employees and